Hello, everyone. My name is Michael Vetter, and I'm one of the 9 candidates running for the Victor School Board this year. I'm happy to have you joining me here virtually in my family's temporary homeschool classroom. Thank you for taking the time to learn about me, my background and qualifications, and why I think we have something very special here in Victor that I'm excited to help make even better. I'd also like to thank the Victor parent groups, PTSA, Voice, and PI for facilitating this opportunity to help us connect. And more importantly, thank you for all the work that you do to support the Victor Central School District. There were some questions provided to help guide this conversation. The first one, what is your vision for Victor Central Schools? How do you feel students, parents, and residents currently view VCS? And how would you like them to see VCS? I'd start by saying, we moved from Fairport to Victor 4 years ago. We had decided to build a home, and we could have built anywhere, but we chose Victor because it embodied the kind of community and school that we wanted to raise our children in, and offered many other attractive qualities like a low tax rate, at least relative to New York, and an emphasis on conservation and other zoning practices that increase the quality of life for the community. I think Victor's done an amazing job with very limited resources. We're a top-rated school, locally and nationally. We've built a renowned athletics program, all while maintaining a strong focus on academics and a broad set of extracurriculars. In fact, according to the niche.com rankings of the best schools, Victor ranks very highly when compared to 36 other schools in the Rochester area, and ranks number 1 on several metrics when compared to other schools in Ontario County. US News and World Report ranks the high school 5th in its balanced scorecard review, compared to all high schools in the Rochester, New York metro region. And we have significantly better than state average scores in mathematics and reading. So we've demonstrated in many ways that we can achieve great outcomes when we come together as a community. And there's one key area where I think we need to turn our attention to now: technology. A bit more about me before I come back to my vision for VCS. I attended Canandaigua Elementary School and eventually moved to Manchester and then to Shortsville, where I graduated from the Manchester Shortsville Central School. I left to attend New Jersey Institute of Technology and stuck around after graduating from the master's program just long enough to realize that the grass was much greener in upstate. And my wife and I raced back and never looked back. While I was in New Jersey, I started working for the Kearney School District. Located about 10 miles west of Manhattan, the Kearney School District was very similar to Victor. We had approximately 5,000 students and 700 faculty and staff spread over 7 schools around the town. Even 18 years ago, we were deploying dozens, if not hundreds, of smartboards and thousands of PCs and those white egg-shaped Macs that replaced the candy-colored Macs from the late 90s. However, I spent most of my time working closely with and helping train our educational technologists in a train-the-trainer model, so they could go out and deliver the professional development our teachers needed to stay at the forefront of using technology to enhance education. With a couple more career stops along the way, I landed at McQuaid Jesuit as the first full-time director of IT. In my 8 years there, my team and I were responsible for the complete overhaul of the IT infrastructure and the years of research, planning, and professional development leading up to the eventual launch of their one-to-one iPad program. As a member of the Academic Council, I helped to develop their STEM curriculum and created the technology plans that prepared them to face the challenges of distance learning today. However, the thing I'm most proud of from my time at McQuaid was the IT student internship program I developed. Students that had a demonstrated interest in careers in computer science and IT would spend 1 to 2 years as an apprentice in our department. I would often continue to mentor them throughout college and into their early careers, and I'm still in touch with many of them today. And that was a really rewarding experience. Since then, I completed an MBA at the University of Rochester and continued on to lead information technology at 2 fast-growing companies during times of significant technical transformation, leading multi-million-dollar projects, spanning the full breadth of company operations. Okay, enough about me. What I hope you take away from all that is that I'm a strong believer in the transformational power of technology. I've seen countless examples of how the appropriate use of technology can spark intellectual curiosity and engagement in our children, and how it can foster improved collaboration between parents and teachers. My vision for VCS is that we can become 21st century leaders, and that we don't need to sacrifice any of our existing programs to do so. We can continue to build on the notable successes we've had in areas like athletics, and not only catch up with our peers in technology, but become an example to others. If elected, I will prioritize funding and improve decisions to that end. As a BOE member, you are expected to represent the entire district. How do you plan to engage and communicate with the VCS community, as well as residents not currently connected to VCS? Please be specific. So I'll just leave this up here for a minute, and I encourage you to reach out to me with your questions and concerns. Some are concerned that VCS is falling behind other surrounding districts in terms of academic programs and performance, as well as technology access. What are your thoughts on how to address these concerns? I do think Dr. Terranova and the district have been very open recently about our lack of investment in technology. Many of our neighboring schools have already implemented one-to-one programs where every student is issued a device, such as a tablet or a Chromebook, and have expanded their staff of educational technologists to ensure that every teacher is prepared to effectively utilize them in the classroom, so that the device doesn't just become an expensive distraction or paperweight. While this adoption of technology in the classroom has many merits in its own right, unfortunately, with this pandemic and the move to distance learning, it's really accentuated these shortcomings, as we saw that many of our surrounding school districts were better equipped to deal with these challenges because of the investments that they've made. Look, none of us have a crystal ball, and whether or not this pandemic has passed by September and it's deemed safe for our children to return to school, I hope we've learned an important lesson from this experience and take action. We should be preparing now as if we will not be able to return to normal. Because simply by preparing ourselves for that possibility, we'll discover new ways of teaching and learning that will enrich our students' experience and provide for a more inclusive system that supports the many different ways our students are best able to learn. I'm a big fan of Sir Ken Robinson, and I think he says it best. We have to go from what is essentially an industrial model of education, a manufacturing model, which is based on linearity and conformity and batching of people. We have to move to a model that is based more on principles of agriculture. We have to recognize that human flourishing is not a mechanical process. It's an organic process, and you cannot predict the outcome of human development. All you can do, like a farmer, is create the conditions under which they will begin to flourish. I encourage you to Google his TED Talk. He goes on to talk about how technology can help to revolutionize education by facilitating personalized instruction for students. Anyway, if you're still listening at this point, I think you know where I stand on the matter. What are your views on the current budget proposal? Do you feel that property tax increases are necessary, or do you have other ideas on how to increase revenue? There are many ideas being discussed right now, and I think most of them are good ideas, and we should continue to pursue. Ultimately, I do think that school tax increases will continue to be necessary until we've met the needs of our students. Keep in mind that families chose to move to Victor and Farmington because of the quality of the school system, and we should approach any tax increases proudly and with a clear vision for how it will benefit our families, rather than making threats about which programs will be cut if the community does not comply. The one idea I've heard that I would not support is the possibility of redistricting. I've experienced firsthand the vicious effect that redistricting can have on a community, its families, and property values. We've worked hard to create a school and community that is attractive, and we should be proud of the resulting growth. We must be inclusive as we work to find ways to meet the needs that we've created by our own successes. Last, I'd say I'm a bit disappointed with the lack of vision and creativity inherent in the current budget proposal. We're approaching the issue of exceeding the tax cap too timidly, and in my opinion, should be asking for even more. It's not enough to maintain current programs and staffing. We must address our needs and the challenges we face head on and be willing to boldly ask the community for support. If that ask is coupled with a compelling vision and rationale, I think the community will support it. In the meantime, I will be voting yes for the current proposed budget. Parents are looking for representatives who are committed to Victor Central Schools. Did you vote in the 2019 VCS budget and BOE election? Keep in mind that voter rolls are public information. I hope you won't judge me too harshly, but like more than 95% of the registered voters in Victor and Farmington, I did not vote in the 2019 budget and BOE election. It's not an excuse, but at this time last year, I was laser focused on an important project for work, working 80 to 100-hour weeks, and was not at all civically minded, or engaged in much of anything else, for that matter. I would say, though, that all too often we find that we've built systems designed for the convenience of the system and not truly for the benefit of the people. It's unfortunate that it took a pandemic and the governor's executive orders to expand access and remove barriers to absentee ballot voting. But I'm excited to see what'll happen this year when the vote comes to the community rather than the community having to come out to the vote. So please get out to your mailbox and vote. You should receive a prepaid return postage absentee ballot by mail this week for every registered voter in your household. Ballots must be returned to the district by 5 p.m. on June 9th to count towards the vote. Remember, that's not a postmarked by date, that's a delivered by date. Well, that's my time. Thank you again for listening.